There is a hidden code that dictates almost every romantic relationship you will ever have. It determines who you are attracted to, how you behave when you are in love, why certain relationships feel like a peaceful harbor while others feel like an emotional battlefield, and ultimately, whether your relationship will thrive or fail. Most of us believe that our relationship struggles are simply bad luck, or that we just haven't found the right person yet. We read dating advice, we try to play it cool, we analyze text messages, and we attempt to change our behavior to make things work. But what if the problem isn't who you are dating? What if the problem is that you don't understand the biological and psychological wiring that is driving your every move? In their groundbreaking book Attached, psychiatrist Dr. Amir Levine and social psychologist Rachel Heller reveal that the secret to understanding adult relationships lies in a decades-old psychological framework called attachment theory. Originally developed to study the bond between infants and their caregivers, scientists eventually discovered that this same biological system governs our adult romantic relationships. Your attachment style is not a choice. It is a deeply ingrained, subconscious blueprint that was formed in your earliest years, and it acts as the invisible hand guiding your love life. Today, we are going to decode this blueprint. We will break down the 3 attachment styles, expose the most toxic and common relationship trap, and reveal the exact science of how to build a secure, lasting, and deeply fulfilling connection. To understand your attachment style, you first need to understand the attachment system. This is a primal, biological mechanism hardwired into our brains. As humans, we are not designed to survive alone. Our nervous systems are literally programmed to seek proximity to a primary attachment figure for safety and comfort. When you feel threatened, stressed, or lonely, your attachment system activates. It sends out a biological signal that says, "I need to connect with my person." When that person responds and provides comfort, your nervous system regulates, and you feel safe. This is called a secure base. But what happens when that person doesn't respond? What happens when your need for connection is met with distance, inconsistency, or rejection? This is where the 3 distinct attachment styles are born. The first style is the anxious attachment style. People with an anxious attachment style have a highly sensitive attachment system. They crave intimacy and closeness more than anything else, but they are plagued by a deep, underlying fear of abandonment. They are constantly scanning their environment for signs of rejection. If their partner takes a little longer to reply to a text, if their tone of voice sounds slightly off, or if they seem a bit distant, the anxious person's attachment system goes into overdrive. They experience a surge of anxiety and a desperate need to restore closeness. To cope with this anxiety, anxious individuals often engage in what psychologists call protest behavior. This can look like trying to make their partner jealous, calling repeatedly, withdrawing to punish the other person, or having an emotional outburst. They are not doing this to be manipulative, they are doing this because their nervous system is in a state of panic. They are trying to force a reaction, any reaction, to prove that their partner still cares. Anxious people are often incredibly empathetic, deeply loving, and highly attuned to their partner's needs, but their fear of losing the relationship can sometimes become a self-fulfilling prophecy, pushing their partner away. The second style is the avoidant attachment style. If the anxious person's strategy is to cling tighter when they feel threatened, the avoidant person's strategy is to pull away. Avoidant individuals equate intimacy with a loss of independence and autonomy. When their attachment system is activated, when a relationship starts to get too close, too deep, or too demanding, they feel suffocated. Their subconscious mind tells them that relying on someone else is dangerous, and that the only way to be safe is to rely entirely on themselves. To manage this discomfort, avoidant individuals use deactivating strategies. These are mental and behavioral tactics designed to suppress their need for intimacy. They might focus on their partner's minor flaws, idealize an ex-partner, pull away when things are going well, or keep conversations strictly superficial. They often pride themselves on being fiercely independent, not needing anyone, and keeping their emotions tightly locked away. But this independence is often an illusion. It is a defense mechanism built to protect them from the vulnerability of relying on someone else. Avoidant people do feel love and connection, but their threshold for intimacy is much lower, and their instinct is to create distance the moment they feel engulfed. The third style, and the ultimate goal for everyone, is the secure attachment style. Secure individuals are comfortable with intimacy and are usually warm and loving. They do not play games, they do not try to manipulate their partner's emotions, and they do not fear being alone, but they deeply enjoy being together. When their attachment system is activated, they don't panic, and they don't run away. Instead, they communicate their needs clearly and directly. If they feel hurt, they say, "I felt hurt when you did that." If they need space, they say, "I need a little time to myself." Secure individuals act as an emotional anchor. They provide a safe harbor for their partners. They are not easily threatened by their partner's need for closeness, nor are they threatened by their partner's need for independence. They understand that a healthy relationship requires both connection and autonomy. The most beautiful thing about the secure attachment style is that it is highly contagious. Being in a relationship with a secure person can actually help heal an anxious or avoidant person's nervous system over time. Now we arrive at the most critical, and perhaps the most dangerous, dynamic in modern dating, the anxious-avoidant trap. Statistically, anxious and avoidant people are highly attracted to each other. In fact, they are often drawn to each other like magnets. At first glance, this makes no sense. Why would someone who craves closeness be attracted to someone who runs from it? Why would someone who values independence be attracted to someone who is clingy? The answer lies in our subconscious expectations. We are drawn to people who confirm our core beliefs about love and relationships. An anxious person subconsciously believes that love is unstable, that they have to fight for it, and that they might be abandoned at any moment. An avoidant person fits this belief perfectly. When the avoidant partner pulls away, it triggers the anxious person's core fear, but it also feels strangely familiar. It feels like chemistry. The anxious person mistakes the intense anxiety, the highs and lows, and the desperate longing for passion. They think, "I've never felt this strongly about anyone before." On the flip side, the avoidant person subconsciously believes that people will eventually try to control them, engulf them, and take away their freedom. The anxious person, with their intense need for reassurance and closeness, perfectly confirms this belief. When the anxious person pushes for more intimacy, the avoidant person feels justified in pulling away. This creates a toxic, exhausting dance. The anxious person pushes for closeness, the avoidant person pulls away. The anxious person panics and tries harder, the avoidant person feels suffocated and retreats further. Then, just when the anxious person is about to give up, the avoidant person feels the distance and steps back in, offering a crumb of affection. The anxious person is relieved, the cycle resets, and the trap is locked. This relationship feels incredibly intense, but it is not passion, it is anxiety. It is a nervous system in overdrive. And because it is so emotionally draining, it rarely leads to long-term happiness. To break this cycle, we must understand the dependency paradox. In our modern culture, we are taught that independence is the ultimate goal. We are told not to be clingy, not to be needy, and to be completely self-sufficient. But attachment science reveals a profound truth: human beings are biologically dependent on each other for emotional regulation. The dependency paradox states that the more effectively dependent you are on a secure partner, the more independent and confident you become. Think of a child playing in a park. As long as they can see their parent on the bench, they feel safe to explore, to run far away, to take risks, and to be independent. But the moment the parent leaves, the child stops playing, panics, and runs to find them. The child can only be independent because they know their secure base is there. The exact same dynamic applies to adults. When you are in a secure relationship, you know your partner has your back. This frees up massive amounts of cognitive and emotional energy. You don't have to waste your mental bandwidth worrying about whether your partner loves you, or analyzing their text messages. You can take risks in your career, pursue your hobbies, and be your most authentic, independent self, precisely because you have a secure base to return to. So, how do you apply this knowledge to your own life? How do you move from anxiety or avoidance toward security? The first step is radical self-awareness. You must take an honest, objective look at your own behaviors. Do you find yourself constantly checking your phone, waiting for a reply? Do you feel a knot in your stomach when your partner goes out with friends? You might be anxious. Do you feel a sudden urge to break up when things are going really well? Do you focus on your partner's flaws to justify pulling away? You might be avoidant. Recognizing your triggers is the first step to managing them. The second step is to stop trying to change your attachment style by yourself, and instead, focus on choosing a secure partner. If you are anxious, you must stop dating avoidant people, no matter how much chemistry you feel. That chemistry is a red flag. You need to look for someone who is consistent, who communicates clearly, who doesn't play games, and who makes you feel calm. If you are avoidant, you need to look for someone who is secure enough not to be threatened by your need for space, but who will also gently hold you accountable when you use deactivating strategies to run away from intimacy. The third step is to practice effective communication. This means expressing your needs directly, without protest behavior or deactivating strategies. If you are anxious, instead of waiting 3 hours to text back to teach them a lesson, say, "I felt anxious when I didn't hear from you, and I would appreciate a quick text when you're busy." If you are avoidant, instead of just ghosting or pulling away when you feel overwhelmed, say, "I'm feeling a bit drained and need a quiet evening to myself, but I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow." This kind of direct communication is the hallmark of secure attachment. Finally, understand that your attachment style is not a life sentence. The brain is neuroplastic. Through a process called earned security, you can actually rewire your nervous system. This happens through consistent, positive experiences with secure people, through therapy, and through consciously choosing to respond differently to your triggers. It takes time and it takes effort, but it is entirely possible to move from an insecure attachment style to a secure one. As we conclude this deep dive into attached, remember that love is not just a feeling, it is a biological system. It is a dance of nervous systems seeking safety and connection. By understanding your attachment style, you stop blaming yourself for being too needy or too distant. You stop chasing the wrong people, and you stop pushing away the right ones. You begin to see that true intimacy is not a threat to your independence, but the very foundation of it. The goal of this book is not to put people into neat little boxes. It is to give you a map. A map to navigate the complex, beautiful, and sometimes terrifying landscape of human connection. Whether you are single and looking for love, or in a long-term relationship trying to deepen your bond, the principles of attachment theory will fundamentally change how you see yourself and your partner. Thank you for joining this journey into the science of connection. If this framework resonates with you, if it helps you understand your past relationships and gives you hope for your future ones, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, you are not broken, and you are not unlovable. You are simply operating on a specific biological blueprint. And now that you know how the blueprint works, you have the power to rewrite it. Go forth, understand your triggers, seek secure love, and build the deep, lasting connection you truly deserve. If you enjoyed this book, please let me know in the comments. I'd also love to hear what book you'd like me to summarize next or what type of books you're interested in. Your suggestions help shape this channel, and I'll do my best to bring you the content you want. Thank you for subscribing to Raw Books. Your support means a lot.